Welcome to our channel, Home Remedies and Alternative Therapies 320. Now we want to share 10 good news about the coronavirus. Remember to like us, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel, thanks. The bad news is that the matter is serious. The good news is that there are reasons for optimism because we have never been better prepared to fight a pandemic. Let us classify the new coronavirus as a pandemic or not, the issue is serious. Do not take away importance. In less than 2 months it has spread over several continents, but the virus doesn't care what we call it. A pandemic implies a sustained, effective and continuous transmission of the disease simultaneously in more than 3 different geographical regions. We may already be in that phase, but that is not synonymous with death since the term does not refer to the lethality of the pathogen, but to its transmissibility and geographical extension. What there certainly is a pandemic of fear. For the first time in history, we are experiencing a real-time epidemic. All the media, several times a day, every day, all over the planet, talk about the coronavirus. We follow the drip of each case live. It has even been front-page news that the virus in Brazil has mutated 3 times. 1. We know who it is. The first cases of HIV were described in June 1981 and it took more than 2 years to identify the virus causing the disease. The first cases of severe pneumonia were reported in China on December 31, 2019, and by January 7 the virus had already been identified. The genome was available on day 10. We already know that it is a new coronavirus of group 2b, from the same family as SARS, which is why we have called it SARS-CoV-2. The disease is called COVID-19. It is related to coronavirus of bats. Genetic analysis confirms that it has a recent natural origin between the end of November and the beginning of December, and that, although viruses live by mutating, their frequency of mutation is not very high. 2. We know how to detect it. An RT-PCR assay to detect the virus is available to everyone from January 13. In recent months, these types of tests have been perfected and their sensitivity and specificity evaluated. 3. In China, the situation is improving. The strong control and isolation measures imposed by China are paying off. For several weeks now, the number of cases diagnosed decreases every day. In other countries, a very detailed epidemiological follow-up is being done. The foci are very concrete, which can allow them to be controlled more easily. For example, in South Korea and Singapore. 4. 80% of the cases are mild. The disease causes no symptoms or is mild in 81% of cases. In the remaining 14%, it can cause severe pneumonia and in 5% it can become critical or even fatal. 5. People heal. The only data that are sometimes shown in the media are the increase in the number of confirmed cases and the number of deaths, but the majority of infected people are cured. There are 13 times more cured patients than the deceased, and the proportion is increasing. 6. It does not affect almost minors. Only 3% of cases occur in children under 20, and mortality in children under 40 is only 0.2%. In children the symptoms are so mild that it can go unnoticed. Watch this video until the end where you will have a surprise that you will surely love. 7. The virus is easily inactivated. The virus can be effectively inactivated from the surfaces with a solution of ethanol 62 to 71% alcohol, hydrogen peroxide 0.5% hydrogen peroxide, or sodium hypochlorite 0.1% bleach, in just 1 minute. Frequent handwashing with soap and water is the most effective way to avoid contagion. 8. There are already more than 150 scientific articles. It is the time of science and cooperation. In just over a month, 164 articles can be consulted in PubMed on COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2, in addition to many others available in the repositories of articles not yet peer-reviewed preprints. They are preliminary works on vaccines, treatments, epidemiology, genetics and phylogeny, diagnosis and clinical aspects. These articles are prepared by about 700 authors scattered throughout the site. It is science in common, shared and open. In 2003, when the SARS happened, it took more than a year to obtain less than half of the articles. In addition, most scientific journals have left their funds on coronaviruses open. 9. There are already prototypes of vaccines. Our ability to design new vaccines is spectacular. There are already more than 8 projects against the new coronavirus. There are groups that work on vaccine projects against other similar viruses and now try to change viruses. What can lengthen its development are all the necessary tests of toxicity, side effects, safety, immunogenicity and effectiveness in protection. Therefore, there are several months or years, but some prototypes are already underway. For example, the mRNA-1273 vaccine from Moderna consists of a messenger RNA fragment that encodes a protein derived from the glycoprotein S of the coronavirus surface. This company has similar prototypes for other viruses. Inovio Pharmaceuticals has announced a synthetic DNA vaccine for the new coronavirus, ENO 4800, also based on the S gene of the virus surface. For its part, Sanofi will use its recombinant baculovirus expression platform to produce large amounts of the surface antigen of the new coronavirus. The vaccine group of the University of Queensland, in Australia, has announced that it is already working on a prototype using the technique called molecular clamp, a novel technology that consists of creating chimeric molecules capable of maintaining the original three-dimensional structure of the viral antigen. This allows producing vaccines using the genome of the virus in record time. Novavax is another biotechnology company that has announced its work with the coronavirus. It has a technology to produce recombinant proteins that are assembled into nanoparticles and that, with their own adjuvant, are potent immunogens. In Spain, it is the group of Luis Enjuanes and Isabel Solá of the CNBCSIC who have been working on vaccines against coronaviruses for years. Some of these prototypes will soon be tested in humans. 10. There are more than 80 clinical trials with antivirals in progress. Vaccines are preventive. More important are the possible treatments of people who are already sick. There are already more than 80 clinical trials to analyze coronavirus treatments. These are antivirals that have been used for other infections, which are already approved and that we know are safe. One of those that has already been tested in humans is remdesivir, a broad-spectrum antiviral, still under study, which has been tested against Ebola and SARS-MERS. It is an analog of adenosine that is incorporated into the viral RNA chain and inhibits its replication. Another candidate is chloroquine, an antimalarial that also has potent antiviral activity. It is known to block the infection by increasing the pH of the endosome that is needed for the fusion of the virus with the cell, which inhibits its entry. It has been proven that this compound blocks the new coronavirus in vitro and is already being used in patients who have caused the virus pneumonia. Lopinavir and ritonavir are two protease inhibitors used as antiretroviral therapy that inhibit the final maturation of the AIDS virus. As the SARS-CoV-2 protease has been shown to be similar to that of HIV, this combination has already been tested in patients with the coronavirus. Other proposed trials are based on the use of oseltamivir, a neuraminidase inhibitor used against influenza virus, interferon 1b protein with antiviral function, antisera from already recovered people, and monoclonal antibodies to neutralize the virus. Even new therapies with inhibitory substances, such as baricitinibina, have been suggested by artificial intelligence. The 1918 flu pandemic caused more than 25 million deaths in less than 25 weeks. Could something similar happen again today? As we see, most likely not. We have never been better prepared to fight a pandemic. Source: Ignacio López Goñi, Professor of Microbiology, University of Navarra. The surprise we promised at the beginning of the video you will find in the first link within the description of the video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, share and subscribe.